What are chord inversions and why do piano players use them all the time? Well, in this video, I am sharing what chord inversions are, as well as how to quickly find and play them on your piano. If you haven't checked out the how to create major and minor chords on the piano, be sure to go to the description. This will make a lot more sense if you already know how to create chords, whether they're major or minor. And then be sure to stick to the end because I'm sharing a bonus shortcut to finding chord inversions even faster. If we haven't met before, I'm Rosemarie Penner from Must Love Music. I help make learning piano fun, simple, and interactive with creative ideas and resources to bring on those smiles. As a piano teacher, I've realized that one of the most overwhelming parts of playing chords can be reaching all of the notes. So for example, most students, they start learning chords like this. And that might seem like, okay, it's not too bad, but once you add a melody line, there's a lot of jumping around and it can be very overwhelming. But don't worry, there is an easier way and I'm going to show it to you in this video. So first of all, what are chord inversions? Well, when you invert something, you reverse or change the position of it. So for chords, this just means we're changing the order of the notes. And we have two types of chord inversions. We have our root position, which is what we've been playing all along here. We've got first inversion, that means we've inverted the notes one time. And second inversion, we've inverted them a second time. Before we start practicing what this looks like, I would recommend grab, for example, some gems or Legos or something small that won't fall in between your piano keys. It will be a lot easier for you to visualize what's going on if you have these. So up until now, we have been working with mostly root position chords. So for example, C major has a C, E, and G. And I will play these just so you can see them on the light up as well. And just ignore that clicking that the gems make there. For first inversion, we take our bottom note, C, and we move it up to the next C. So now all of a sudden our chord, I'm just going to play down here, becomes, right, we've moved our C up. And so if you look at the gems, we have them here. So that's first inversion. You can probably guess what we're going to do. We're going to invert again. We're going to take our E and we're going to move it up to the very next E. So from here, we took that E, we're going to move it up. So root position or home position. First inversion, so we took that C. Second inversion, we're going to invert again. We can play them solid, we can play them broken. And what does that look like? Well, I was playing them solid, right? All three notes at the same time. Root position, first inversion, second inversion. A lot of students find it easier to start with broken, meaning we're playing one note at a time. C, E, G, that's our home. That's our first inversion. Second inversion, and we usually want to end on home. What does this look like if it's minor? Well, it's actually the same thing. This time I'm going to mark a little bit lower on the piano and I'll play higher just for some variety. So our C major chord, we lower our middle note. Ooh, lovely minor chord there, right? So this is our root or home position. What we do is we take that bottom note, we move it to the next highest one. Okay, so our C goes up here. Going to move the gem up depending on which you prefer. So that's first inversion. Second inversion, we're going to invert again, take that bottom note, move it to the top. And again with the gems, I'm going to take from our E flat up to the E flat so we can see it in two different ways. You may find that it's easier doing this broken. First inversion is coming up next. Then we invert again. And we'll end on home. So again, dexterity-wise and just having that extra time to think, you may find broken works best for you to start off with. It gives you a little time that you can play and then go, okay, wait, C goes up here, okay? And then again, we're moving our E flat up, okay? And ending on home. Let me know, does it actually help having gems? It might not be as much with an overhead cam, but on your piano, you may actually find this makes a really big difference. I've used these with students of all ages, and they are amazing for being able to teach this. So why do piano players use chord inversions all the time? Is it just one of those things that we're like, ooh, it's something fancy and new? Well, no, actually, as I hinted at earlier, it's much easier to play the piano when you don't have to jump your hand all over the place. I tell my students we want to be lazy in our playing. One of my students, a retired rheumatologist, I remember when he first started, he goes, Rosemarie, this is not a lazy way of playing at all. I have to think so hard. Fast forward a few months and he went, you know what, actually, I'm starting to see what you mean by lazy. So lazy is not in terms of thinking. Oh, you're going to do a lot of thinking when you're first learning piano. We're using lazy as a way of finding a way to play the chords in a way that requires less effort, but with maximum results. The other time that we want to use chord inversions is when we're playing multiple chords in a row. So like other videos in our beginner series, so like the doo-wop one, the major chords, minor chords, and so on. When we did those, we played a series of chords in order. In those, we tended to use inversions because I knew that it would be much easier for you to just slightly shift your hand versus jumping all over the place. We wanted to avoid that as much as possible. And this creates the smoothest and easiest flow between the chords. So let's talk about a fun way to practice chord inversions. Well, you can play the chord with the notes close together, just like we did. Or what you can do is really stretch out the chord. So let me give you an example. Okay, so what does this look like on the piano? What on earth am I talking about? Well, you could play C major, root position, then you could play first inversion. What if, though, you took this E and you moved it down here? Okay, and now you could play. Oh, that sounds beautiful, doesn't it? Versus moving that note down changes the whole feel of it, doesn't it? So what I'd like you to do is any chords that you want, any major or minor chords, play the chord as you normally would, where it's nice and close together. You can use your gems and then stretch out the chord. Maybe you might take, so C minor, let's go with a second inversion. You might take that top note and move it up. Again, it creates an interesting sound and it's different. It creates a different mood. While I played all three notes at the same time, what you could do is broken chords, so playing each note of the chord in a different order and different location on the piano to create a mini song using just one chord. So you could do C major, C minor, whichever one you choose. Use that as practice. Use it as an experimentation. You will find that you will learn these chords, both the root or home position and your first and second inversions, much quicker and faster if you're doing this. So what are chord inversions and how can you find them quickly and play them quickly on the piano? Well, a chord inversion, remember, is just a way of changing the order of the notes in the chord. The notes themselves don't change, we just play them in a different order. So how do you play chord inversions really quickly? Well, you find the home chord and then move the bottom note up once to create a first inversion or twice to create a second inversion. Now, I did promise you a bonus shortcut. What you can do is find the notes of the home chord, for example, C minor, but you could play those notes in any order. This will make it a lot faster for you to play them if you're just remembering same notes, different order. The mini video on Thursday will be sharing another shortcut for these chord inversions to being able to play them and name them really quickly. If you haven't already subscribed, I highly recommend make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out. Thank you so much for watching.